One of the most misunderstood lines of the Boruto anime is when Amado and Kashin Koji said they had a secret weapon. A lot of people assumed that this was in reference to the new Delta, Kawaki's reconstructed Karma Seal, Kawaki's shutdown code, something to do with code, or something to do with Amado's master plan that's yet to be revealed. But the truth is, it's actually none of these. But how do I know that?
But how? I don't get it!
Let's take a look at what they actually say. Kashin Koji says, "Is that all you're taking? It doesn't look like much." And Amado says, "I only need one section of cell fragments in the digitized data aggregate. The work itself can be done using their equipment. That aside, looks like we've got ourselves a secret weapon. It's all thanks to the data you gathered in the leaf." The first thing to take note of is the fact that Amado says, "that aside." This separates Amado's dialogue into two distinct parts. The first part answering Kashin Koji's question about the equipment he's bringing, that being the cell fragments and digitized data aggregate, and the second part being a new topic, that being the secret weapon. If this was meant to be all one topic, Amado wouldn't have said, "that aside." He would have just said, "the work itself can be done using their equipment. This secret weapon of ours, it's all thanks to the data you gathered in the leaf," or something along those lines. He would have connected the two ideas, rather than intentionally separating them with the phrase, "that aside." With this in mind, we can already eliminate several of those common theories I mentioned earlier, starting with the Delta clone. This was not a secret. Amado literally told Katasuke, Shikamaru, and Naruto about this. He literally got their permission to make another Delta. Shikamaru was literally the first person to awaken the new Delta. It's not much of a secret if you freaking tell everyone about it. Furthermore, Amado already has all the data he could ever need to create another Delta. He literally made the first Delta clone before Kashin Koji was even created, and it's not like the Leaf Village has secret info on Delta that Amado doesn't have, so this secret weapon literally can't be in reference to the new Delta. Similarly, the Leaf Village doesn't have any information on code by this point either. They don't even know he exists yet, so Kashin Koji literally couldn't have stolen information on code from the Leaf Village, and code wasn't in the Leaf Village for Kashin Koji to secretly observe him either, and there's really no reason why Amado wouldn't already have this data on code anyway, since he's the one who modified code to begin with, and he does regular checkups on code whenever he feels like it, so this secret weapon can't be in reference to code either. Likewise, Amado already possessed all the necessary data and technology he needed to create shutdown codes like the one he implanted into Delta and presumably Kashin Koji as well. And Amado told Ada that the only reason he didn't implant one into Kawaki sooner is because Jigen forbade it, not because he didn't know how to yet. On top of that, Kashin Koji seemingly had no idea about Amado's shutdown command codes until he saw Amado use one on Delta, so it's highly unlikely that Kashin Koji knew that Amado planned to implant one of these shutdown codes into Kawaki, which means he wouldn't understand what Amado was referring to if this was indeed the secret weapon. So while this shutdown code is undoubtedly a secret weapon in the form of insurance for Amado like he explained to Ada, it's definitely not the one he was referring to with Kashin Koji. This then brings us to the most interesting theory in my opinion, Kawaki's reconstructed Karma Seal. As I mentioned earlier, Amado's dialogue is separated into two parts. The first part answering Kashin Koji's question about the equipment he's bringing, that being the cell fragments and digitized data aggregate, and the second part being a new topic, that being the secret weapon. But what about this work Amado spoke of? What exactly was this work? The answer is Kawaki's reconstructed Karma Seal, but how do I know that?
Well.
To start, this work was in direct reference to the first part about the cell fragments and digitized data aggregate. In other words, the cell fragments and data aggregate were necessary for that work. This is important because in chapter 56 when Amado explains how he regrew Kawaki's hand, Amado says, "It's a genuine article engineered from his own cells, just one of the spare parts I'd made before coming here." This is in reference to the section of cell fragments that Amado told Koji he was bringing. That's what those cells were for, to restore Kawaki's hand. Now as we learned during the code arc, Amado secretly reconstructed Kawaki's Karma Seal when he rebuilt Kawaki's hand, and as Amado reveals in chapter 75, Amado secretly implanted Akebi's data into Kawaki's reconstructed Karma. This is a subtle reference to the digitized data aggregate that Amado told Koji he was bringing. That's what that data was for, to implant Akebi's data into Kawaki's reconstructed Karma, and since the cell fragments and data aggregate were separate from the secret weapon, this necessarily means that Kawaki's reconstructed Karma Seal is also separate from the secret weapon, meaning they were referring to something else. I'll also confidently say that it probably isn't an unrevealed aspect of Amado's master plan because as far as I'm concerned, we've already seen Amado use this secret weapon, and we've already seen how Koji helped him obtain it. So if the secret weapon isn't Delta, Code, Kawaki's shutdown code, Kawaki's reconstructed karma seal, or a new aspect of Amado's master plan, then what is it? Let's take a look at what Koji says and does in the episode where he actually gathers this data for Amado. First, he steals the data containing information on Konoha Shinobi and their achievements after the 4th Great Ninja War. Then he hides in the village overnight and pretends to try to escape the next day. Then he goes to where the data on Shinobi before the 4th Great Ninja War is hidden and gets into a skirmish with Kakashi, and then he leaves without actually stealing that data. And most importantly, right before leaving the village for real this time, Kashin Koji says, "The data itself had nothing to do with my goal. I didn't expect to take such risks to get it." This begs the question, what was Kashin Koji's goal? It wasn't the data he stole at the beginning of the episode. Not only does Kara seemingly have this data already, given that Koji knew exactly who Konohamaru, Mitsuki, Saran, and Boruto were, and Boro also knew exactly who Mitsuki, Saran, and Boruto were, and Code said they had closely examined Naruto Uzumaki's body, and they also had Ao leaking data on scientific ninja tools via Katasuke. Like Kakashi pointed out, if Koji was truly after the data on Shinobi post 4th Great Ninja War, he would have just left under the cover of night the very same night he stole that data. The fact that he didn't do this means that he had a different objective. Likewise, it wasn't the data on Shinobi pre-4th Great Ninja War either. Not only did Koji leave without taking that data, he literally said himself that the data wasn't his goal. That statement also applies to the newer data that he actually did steal. This was all a ruse. Kashin Koji was creating the illusion of a goal, thereby masking his true intentions. His real goal was to help Amado with his secret weapon. And I've strung you along long enough. Let's finally answer the question. What was Amado's secret weapon? Shikadai. The secret weapon was Shikadai. Think about it. What's the first thing Amado does when he arrives in the Leaf Village? He approaches Team Shikadai, puts a bomb around Shikadai's neck, demands to speak to Shikamaru, and requests to defect to Konoha in exchange for offering intel and releasing Shikadai. Naruto and Shikamaru did not trust Amado. They were extremely reluctant to accept his offer. However, they had no choice but to listen to what Amado had to say, for it was the only way to save Shikadai's life. This was all calculated. Amado knew exactly what he was doing. As a father himself, Amado knew exactly how Shikamaru would react. He would never risk Shikadai's life even if he couldn't trust Amado. The desire to protect one's child. Amado understood that feeling all too well. The moment he took Shikadai hostage, Amado had already won. That's what made it a secret weapon. His defection was guaranteed. But how does Koji fit into this? As I explained earlier, the Shinobi data itself wasn't actually what Koji was after. His real goal was to lure Team Shikadai to the outskirts of the village so that Amado could immediately find them and enact his plan. If you recall, right before reverse summoning Amado to the Leaf Village, Kashin Koji tells Amado, "When you arrive, follow the wall to the right." He literally gives Amado directions for where to go, and sure enough, Amado ends up exactly where Team Shikadai is. He also says, "Happy hunting," which is quite fitting given that Amado is targeting Shikadai. Kashin Koji was sly enough to sneak around the village completely unnoticed by Naruto and the Sensory team the entire time Kawaki, Delta, and Jigen were in the village, and while Team 7 was fighting Boruto to rescue Naruto. Do you really think someone as skilled as Kashin Koji was genuinely noticed by Team Shikadai and just accidentally left clues behind to track him further? Of course not. Everything had a purpose. When Koji stole the digitized data the first night, he drew attention towards himself as an intruder who needed to be captured. In doing so, he was able to lure Team Shikadai around as he pleased. But Koji didn't stop there. Had he done so, his plan would have been found out by someone like Kakashi, because as Kakashi pointed out, if Koji was truly after the data on Shinobi post 4th Great Ninja War, he would have just left under the cover of night the very same night he stole that data. The fact that he didn't do this meant that he had a different objective. And given that Team Shikadai was conveniently the only team that made any progress with fighting the intruder, someone like Kakashi very likely may have caught on to Koji's true objective. And so, after Koji successfully lured Team Shikadai to the outskirts of the village, he attempted to steal the Shinobi data from before the 4th Great Ninja War that was contained in a physical scroll. Koji didn't expect to run into Kakashi at that moment. He just expected to steal the data without interference. That's why he said he didn't expect to take such risks. However, it didn't really matter if he actually stole the data or not. What matters is that Koji's objective appeared to be that older data. Whether he stole the data or was caught in the act, his objective would be achieved. They would think he was actually after the old shinobi data, it would never guess that his plan had anything to do with Team Shikadai. He really hammered home the theme that a ninja must see through deception. Kakashi saw through part of Koji's deception and caught him at the data facility, but Koji was still a step ahead of Kakashi and everyone else. I really like this for Koji's character because it builds towards Koji's declaration in the Jigen and Ishiki fight. Kashin Koji is a ninja, and he's consistently displayed the tactical mindset of a ninja leading up to that moment. I think that's pretty cool, and I think I've explained Amado and Koji's secret weapon in its entirety by now, so I want to hear what you guys think. What do you think about Amado and Koji's secret weapon? Did you realize that they were talking about Shikadai, who Amado used as a hostage to guarantee his defection? Or did you think they were talking about the new Delta, Code, Kawaki's shutdown code, Kawaki's reconstructed karma seal, or something about Amado's master plan that's yet to be revealed? And now that you know it's Shikadai, does this make you look at Amado's actions in the Kawaki arc any differently from before? And did you realize that Amado suddenly referenced the equipment he brought with him to the village as he used them during the Code and Prophecy arcs? Let me know in the comment section below, but that's a wrap on today's video, so thank you guys for watching until the end.
You're already under my genjutsu.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, like the video, check out my podcast channel, check out Peak Fiction, become a member, and hit the bell icon for notifications.
Sorry, Sasuke. Maybe some other time.
Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.